So, uh, one thing I did this week besides Sekiro
Mm.
and obviously Devil May Crying was I watched Bird Box on Netflix.
It's funny that you watched a movie about people not looking at things.
What else is related to that?
Nothing. Because it's vision. And you looked at it. That's all I got here, man.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, I watched Bird Box, and that is one of those movies where you just kind of jump in cold. Less you hear about it, probably more you're gonna get out of it because you don't
Yeah,
know
that's
what's
why I
going
haven't
on.
watched it, because the first thing I heard about it was a lot. And
Oh,
then
who did that?
the internet.
That sucks.
The first thing I ever saw about Bird Box. So you know how your phone will occasionally be like, you'll open up the Google, you'll open up Chrome, and it'll be like it listed like articles.
I'm trusting you
or,
to not actually say
or whatever,
something
right?
bad here.
And no, don't worry about it. And the very first thing I saw was Netflix's Bird Box. See the hidden concept art they threw away before cutting those scenes from the movie, so that. And I'm like, huh? What is a bird? What? And I clicked on it, and I saw what the thing was supposed to look like. The thing that you never see in the movie because they cut it because it looks awful. And I went, well, the movie is actually ruined for me now.
So,
Like, it is ruined.
so, uh, I'm going to talk in circles around Bird Box. Here's what I'll say: if you are interested in seeing this, I think you should still go in as cold as possible. So yeah, tap out. Not gonna spoil. I'm gonna talk in circles around it.
Yeah, it can be done.
But it's a movie that benefits from you knowing as little about it as possible.
Yeah.
So this is your warning about
I don't know
that.
how to feel about movies like that.
And if
because
you
they're
don't
difficult
care-
to recommend.
And if you don't necessarily care, then listen in. You can probably still watch it after this. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So, do people care that you guys are debating it amongst yourself? The fact that some people do or don't is
Whatever.
reason enough for me.
Some
to
people
talk
are
in
going to care.
circles.
Some people are not going to
Yeah,
care.
why take the chance? All
Come
right.
on, man. Let's be
So-
polite. Be courteous.
So it's so funny that you said that because that is overwhelmingly the impression that the movie gives off, right? This is a movie that lives in the space of all you know about it is the picture of you got Sandra Bullock in a boat,
Yeah.
and she's got a blindfold on.
And they're like, that's a bad idea.
And then there's post-apocalyptic genre,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And it's got a weird title.
Yes. So the movie, now that having gone through it, here's what it is. It feels like, it's just like all those things I compare to, like your. There's a type of movie now where there is an invisible threat that you can kind of basically surmise a lot about.
Yeah.
That's causing a problem for the characters and such, and it feels a lot like the script was way worse when it told you more,
So
and someone came along and cleaned it up by removing those parts.
I'm telling you, I can tell you right now, the script was more or less the same. They just were gonna put a scene in which somebody saw it, and that and the camera saw it, and they had what it was supposed to look like, and Sandra Bullock couldn't keep from laughing while recording the scene because the thing was so fucking stupid looking, and they're like, just cut the fucking scene, and they cut the scene. And that's what they did. They just cut the scene out.
So what you're left with, however, is still enough impressions,
Yeah.
including like you're left with impressions including like other in-world characters' interpretations.
Yeah, and it's not consistent, and it's
Yes,
it's vague.
yeah. But just that enough gives off the vibe. Oh, that would have been dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
There's no way to show it.
Someone came in at the last second and looked at the script and went, no,
Take it out.
no. And while we're at it, let's start cutting other things, right? And they started changing details and making saves, right?
You know what?
And you can feel where the saves were made because what's left is the residue of stupid. The residue of stupid is there, but you're like, but there's no holes here. There's no flaw with the plot. It's still airtight.
Yeah.
But the residue of dumb.
You're sitting there and you're like, there was stupid here.
I know it.
There was stupid here, but it's gone now.
Yes.
But the taste of stupid remains.
The person who did that rewrite to get rid of the stupid earned their money because they made it go from laughable to fine. But,
So you know what that person did? This is my headcanon. That person was like, man, I'm a big fan of M. Night. And they watched The Happening, and they got to that part where Mark Wahlberg's looking at the trees and going, oh, no. And they're like, we can't have this in our fucking movie. We cannot have this fucking scene in our movie.
That's the first place your brain goes.
Right?
That's definitely the first place
your brain goes. Because that's like one
of
of the worst movies. That's one of the worst moments in film of all time.
Is the happening nonsense.
And it's like, it's this idyllic shot of like a bunch of trees blowing in the wind. And like, and Mark Wahlberg's like, oh.
What if, right? Yeah. Someone definitely went.
Oh my God, man.
Someone went, what if we didn't like fucking put the clown shoes on? Though,
oh,
right?
man.
And went and tried something else. Now here is the problem. Right? In the fact that this movie, what's left is functional.
Mm-hmm.
It works and it's fine because they fucking hacked at it.
Yeah.
To get here.
Take all the crappy parts out.
What you're left with is, while you would say its direct comparison would be something such as an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
What's a way better comparison is A Quiet Place.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
A way better comparison, right? And here's where you break down these kinds of movies. Because ultimately, you have, like I said, post-apocalyptic setting. You want to learn about what caused that to happen, what caused the fall.
Yeah.
And you want to see how your characters survive.
And what's interesting in a lot of those cases is what caused the fall, and the answer is shut up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
it's just a problem now.
So right off the bat, right? Quiet Place. Good. Why? Because characters are competent. What moves the story forward is just how overwhelmingly threatening the problem is.
This is a really big problem, man. This is a big problem.
Bird Box, bad. Why? Because what moves the story forward is people being stupid as opposed to the threat being that overwhelmingly
It's like, listen,
dangerous.
there is a obvious, if very annoying, solution to the world of Bird Box that no one appears to actually take very seriously. There is a way to remove that threat from your life permanently that nobody wants to entertain.
And here's the tap out point. Because you claim you don't care.
No, I don't give a shit.
And here's the tap out point. So if
I read the synopsis and watched
right.
a bunch of clips.
So here's where I'm gonna just go right into it. So here's your double layer of
here's your double. Get out of here for a second.
Yeah. So the movie challenges exactly that thought of like, okay, if seeing them is the problem, just don't see them anymore.
Yeah, that it is a creature that if you look at it, you will die.
Okay. Now,
so that's a problem.
Now, when it comes down to it, your climax is more or less creatures going, fucking look at me!
No, look at me, dummy!
And then they're like, nope, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And then they're like, oh, we're so scared. We're so scared that we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here because they're really yelling at us really loud.
They're very upset that we won't look at them.
But what is their option if you don't look? And the movie says...
nothing.
So then, why not casually go for a stroll with your head down. Like,
Just close your eyes.
nothing is stopping it. You look at me. No.
Also, like a human being's a human being's
I won't.
A human being's natural fear response is to close their eyes. Now, is that a good response? Probably not, actually. But close your eyes.
So
it is a threat that you can give yourself invincibility from.
So
with your own body.
So, right, your tier 2 threat comes in the form of assholes that are out there just trying to fucking...
People who are losing it.
Right? Well, actually, no. It's your like, your crazies and that are like converts that are trying to fucking get you. Right?
Yeah.
The people who roam the Badlands.
Hasten the end of the world.
And so on and so forth. Right? And the problem there is you're like, okay, so what's the link between why certain people react this way
and some people
and certain people don't? And the answer could have been elaborated on, but it was trimmed.
Yeah.
And
because it was bad.
So what you're left with is because they're crazy. And as we all know, fucking mental illness, just whatever.
I don't know,
knows?
man.
The zombos.
That's weak in that it's like it's not very satisfying.
Because you don't have to think about it, right? The whole thing about like, why does it work here but not there? You go, well, they're crazy. That's why it doesn't work. And you're like, okay.
Or this thing makes some people crazy at random.
But your brain, no. It specifically talks about mental
asylum. Oh, are you
asylum
serious?
People? Like, yeah. Oh no, people that are locked up are totally fine and crazy because it's. And so, what are you supposed to do, right? And your brain is trained to think of, well, they're crazy, therefore they don't make rational sense. Therefore, I don't have to think about the realm of crazy or why it doesn't apply. And like the first instinct you would think is that like, oh, maybe this would actually work.
Maybe there's a hint here about.
So Steph's guess was people that are already suicidal.
Yeah,
are the ones who become that.
Yeah,
and you go, oh, because there's a link
it's
there.
It's dragging your garbage out.
It's a link there, and it's like you don't change your feelings.
Yeah.
So that would make sense, but it's like no, it doesn't even go there. It just says crazy people. The end.
Nah, it's not very satisfying.
You're right.
I'm not satisfied with.
Yeah, terrible. So and then ultimately, like I said, you have that. It's the level of competence that the characters in A Quiet Place display with mastery over their world. Right? Because of the limitations placed
in fact, there's an instance in Quiet Place in which one character's mastery over the world is so excellent that they accidentally solve the problem via something they were doing prior.
The people in Quiet Place are so good at what they're doing that they make what is me screaming in the theater at how bad a decision it is to bring the noisiest possible thing into the world.
Yeah. And
then they're like, no, we had a plan. Right? So looking at it here, I'm just like, these people are not being brought forward into this plot, and trouble is not occurring based on, like, again, the threat actually being the problem.
No, they're causing their own problems.
They're causing their own problems, and people being stupid, and people being typical, like, survival band together archetypes, where someone's got to be the one that cracks.
Yep.
Someone's got to be too nice and freak out. You got to have all those types of people. It's just going through those, and you're like, well, then, so stupidity makes the movie move forward, right?
You should watch. Have you seen The Mist?
No.
So the new Mist. It's got the guy who played the Punisher in it. The
new Punisher?
No, the old one. Forget his name.
Dolph Lundgren?
No. The new
Thomas Jane?
Yeah, it is. It's Thomas Jane's the main character. And the thing about The Mist that's so fascinating is that you have a main character who is watching other people become horror movie problems and is like going, no, stop. No. Stop. Like, you're doing that shit. Like, he's not saying, like, you're acting like you're in a horror movie, but it's like everyone's starting to do that shit.
Yeah.
and make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And the main character's like, no, stop making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Can we all just fucking hold on for a second?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's even parts where it's like, hey, every group has to have the selfish asshole. Every zombie apocalypse has the selfish asshole.
It's
you know it.
I got bit, but I'm gonna hide it.
You
even
recognize
though I see it.
You recognize the problem, right? And like the moment that occurs where like selfish asshole goes too far, like it happens, and then the only difference here is you're just gonna shrug it off, as opposed to confronting it and going, hold on, we need to stop everything and find out what that was. Why'd you just do that, right? Where anyone in a survival scenario with half a brain cell would stop everything and explain what just happened, but we shrug it off because the movie has to move forward. So anyway, all that happens, and then you eventually you get to your ending, and I mean, you read the synopsis, so I'm sure you're aware. But
it's really about emotions.
But like, here's the thing: is like your ending where it's like you're trying to make it to a safe place to go, and
oh my god,
fucking full spoilers. Guess what? They make it to the safe place, and it's a fucking school for the blind, and everybody's there.
That will obviously solve the problem.
Yeah, but guess what? You could have just made it that with a lot of security, but instead you made it have volumetric lighting, god rays, and soft heaven music, because this is more than just a safe place. This is a sanctuary. You've made it to heaven.
Also, using visual metaphors in that context doesn't actually make any sense at all,
because they don't fucking but like it's so just like it's overwhelmingly paradise has been found when it's really clearly not that, and all you had to really do was just make it like somewhat believable as a secure place for you to end up in, but they wanted that feeling to be over the top. Oh Jesus, come on. Is that a photo of the threat?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Boy, did they make the right call. Holy shit. It's even dumber than the ideas you get. Because you get some ideas in the actual thing. And they're not great. In fact, they make the whole thing a fucking joke. Holy fuck. I guess you're going to have to Google that one. I guess you're going to have to Google Bird Box cut content, and look for your pictures. It was an Instagram photo. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna put a nice warning up top for everybody, so that going into this segment, you'll at least have a timestamp to know when to stop talking. We'll stop talking about this, but that is unbelievably stupid.
So the interview is, I don't know if you guys still hear me. Hold on, let me sit down. The interview goes that they're supposed to film a scene with Sandra Bullock where she gets like a glimpse of it, and like when Sandra would get a glimpse of it, she would lose her shit and start laughing super hard like 10 times in a row. And that's why they cut it. They didn't. So like if Sandra Bullock was like an idiot, or didn't realize that it was the stupidest looking thing ever, that would be in the movie.
You mean not in the shot, because obviously she doesn't look at it in the shot.
Well, whatever. She would see it on the set or whatever, and she's like, I can't. This is fucking dumb. This is hilarious.
But she soldiered on. She would have had no problem being in
right. So if she was able to like look at that and not burst into laughing, that'd be in the movie.
That's a sign of, that's a sign of someone who's acting that knows they're gonna be in something bad and doesn't care at that point.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're telling me she's like didn't have a problem,
it's
you
want some wild shit on this note. By the way, gang, go look up what the original Predator was supposed to look like.
Okay.
It was supposed to be super tall and lanky and have like a weird detached head.
Last thing I'm gonna say on it is, like, her character is supposed to be one that's very disaffected with her condition, and because that's the way she sees it, and that condition is being pregnant. And she's very much just like in denial and such, and they make a good they establish that nice and early through just basic conversation, at which point the TV is on and like the world is ending and people are running and burning cars are in circles, and it's in Russia, and she's like, whatever, anyway. And, like, they literally just turn, don't worry about that.
I really
That's
don't even
over
care
there.
at all.
Right? And you're like, okay. But anyway, and so they establish that she doesn't have a fucking, she's not able to properly comprehend the fact that she's gonna have a baby or whatever. And you're like, okay, established. And then they double it down by having them when they're in the fucking ultrasound, and she's cracking jokes and just like, and it all, like, every moment of like, you could have left it alone, but then you triple down and then you quadruple down, and then you get to a point where literally the children in the movie are named boy and girl because this person just couldn't care less about.
Yeah, that's not a thing that has ever happened to a human being ever.
It's just so beyond the pale.
Really, it's a story, dude. It's a story about emotions, not necessarily about the plot.
So this is like. This is a train wreck that has been shaved and shaved and shaved and shaved
until it fit back on the track.
And then it arrived. And you get to the credits and you go, you know what?
That was a movie.
You know, I gotta give it to you.
That movie did happen. I did watch it.
You have to give it up. You have to give it up to the fact that you're like, you got there. You managed to get there, and anytime it was about to go bad, it said missing film reel.
Yeah.
And then it cut back to being fine. It just
King Crimsoned past the dumb shit.
And it worked. You know? It's
pretty fascinating in that context.
Very interesting. You can feel it aggressively, but someone came in and
I can't think of a single movie like that other than this.
Yeah. Yeah, because we know what bad movies are now.
Everyone knows what a bad movie is.
And
bad movies don't come out by accident.
No.
They know they're fucking bad before they come out, guys.
Yeah, and you know, and like, again, whoever you want to find that whether it's an associate producer or
whoever the fuck made the
executive
call,
director, you know what I mean? Like, whoever it was on that final rewrite.
Who went, this needs to go. You need to get this out of the fucking movie.
That's a soldier.
Yeah.
That's a soldier right there.
You need to get this fucking you need to get this makeup artist out of my fucking face and get this character designer to get out of here.
Yeah, so if you want to watch Bird Box,
it's cool, I guess.
Yeah, but if you haven't watched Quiet Place, go watch that instead.
Yeah. It's bizarre how analogous those are.
It really is.
Right?
And again, you want to go to the happening side of things, but it's so much more.
Well, I go to the happening side of things because of the nature.
The obvious
nature of the threat
threat
is
yes.
incredibly similar. Yeah.
But the best part, because fucking Quiet Place, man.
Like,
Quiet Place has the introduction to Quiet Place takes a character from Bird Box and puts them in the world of Quiet Place, and then shows you what happens to people that are from the wrong world.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you too stupid to survive the apocalypse? That's it.
I guess you're too stupid to survive the apocalypse.
That's it. There's no, and it's a localized, direct threat to you. If you are too stupid, then you will die.
It also shows, like, okay, the world's pretty fucked up by the time we start the movie in Quiet Place. Here's a really good reason why I got so fucked up. Because you don't get to make many mistakes.
Yes.
You really don't get to make many mistakes at all.
Yes.
One, maybe two.
And there is also, this is the other bit too, like, Quiet Place, by the time you get through to it, it makes a couple decisions. It even swerves, right? And you understand the nature of the threat enough to believe the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And in this case, and in the case of Bird Box, the threat, you get the feeling that it is unexplained because further elaboration
would make
it the dumbest, most laughable thing ever in terms of its origin, Not just what it looks like or what's going on, but literally where or what it taps into or where it comes from or whatever it fucking is. That on its own, you get the overwhelming feeling it would be laughable, and thus that too is cut.
So
and it tries to go back to that Ridley Scott place of don't show the monster, and we'll live in that.
It's this thing where I guess we can finish this off, but like look at Bird Box and look at Quiet Place, in which we're talking about sight versus sound, right? The threat in Quiet Place, don't make noise. The threat in Bird Box is don't look, right? The problem is that one of these is received and the other is generated by the protagonist, right? Creating noise is unavoidable, right? You can't never make noise. That's not a concept that can exist, right? But the protagonist,
life is noise.
but they can try, and the removal of this aspect of their lives informs the story, right? So you get situations where like, oh, I dropped a thing. What? Drama now, because a normal thing happened that anyone could do, right? Something unavoidable. There's kids in the story, and the kids aren't perfect, so of course mistakes happen,
Don't
right?
fart.
So it just goes, right? With A Quiet Place, you go, well, shouldn't all the blind people just be complete? Sorry, no, not Quiet Place. In Bird Box, shouldn't all blind people just be completely fine?
They are.
So, but the monster's never going to do anything to you, and you can't even initiate the interaction. All you have to do is put that blindfold on and not take it off, and you're set for life.
So Final Panic Run is Sandra Bullock running with the kids, and then the things are chasing, and the noises are yelling and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then because she's sprinting and panicking, she trips and falls and gets knocked out.
Okay.
And it's like, damn, you were stupid to do that.
You
right?
could have just walked.
And then she luckily, due to emotion, manages to fix the situation and get the kids back and find themselves back on the path.
Yeah.
And then the noises start again, and then they just start hoofing it again.
No,
and you're
just
like,
walk.
what, like...
It's been established that...
But the camera dramatically cuts to the bushes rustling and the dust kicking up into the air, and it seems like it's going to do something to you.
But it's not.
But it's actively not and never going to.
In fact, the entire premise of this film is based upon the one rule that is, as long as you don't allow it to hurt you, it's not going to hurt you. There's no...
Yeah.
Whereas, like, hey, guess what? You make noises when you're fucking asleep.
And I bet you...
That's tough, man.
And I bet you that rewriter, that script revision, that person caught that and just went, I can't fucking help you.
I don't know how to fix this scene.
That's just way too locked in.
You know what should have been the ending of that movie? Where she's running and then she realizes that that's stupid. And then they just walk to the location and they go, everything's going to be fine.
Or you just...
Everyone in the world who has died is stupid but us.
Or you just thumb your eyes out.
Well, I'm sure there's a less dramatic version of that.
Yeah, sure.
But
that's why it's like the real actual problem is the crazies who are coming to fucking pull your blindfolds off. But quite frankly, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Boy.
What if I don't know. Like it's such an obvious rule. Like, hey, Japanese ghosts, Asian ghosts. Hey, how do they track you? Your breath. The breath is the soul of life. You stop breathing, they can't see you, right? What does that mean? That puts the onus of hiddenness on the character.
Right.
Fucking Quiet Place, sound, whatever, right? But in Bird Box, they put it all on the monster. And the monster's not allowed to do anything. It's ridiculous.
It truly subscribes to the David Cage school of film. In that
more polygons means more emotions.
Emotions are the key,
Yeah.
and beat you over the head with character quote unquote development, and like Again,
Everything's in service to the character's emotional journey.
yeah, safety is heaven and threats are hell.
Yeah.
And like visually they're overwhelmingly so. And the actual problem could be solved with a little bit of common sense, but it's more important that movies make it seem scarier than it is.
So, you know what? I'm going to boil it down even further, right? And it's like, okay, you have a threat in a horror film.
Also, the crazies can't trust the crazies. Asylums, fucking zombie farms.
Yeah. So, you have a horror film, and the horror film has some kind of tweak, right? It's zombies, it's whatever. The viewer will say, well, just don't blank, right? You need to have a comeback to that.
Every single time.
You need, like, so zombie movies, just don't go outside. Dude, we need to eat eventually. Fine, right? Problem solved. That's a realistic thing. You need food.
Yeah.
You can't just not eat. You'll die.
Yeah.
Right?
Crawl up into a fucking watchtower and just stay there forever until you gotta go get your food, but live in the high tower.
Okay, but then you're dead as soon as you leave the high tower. So, okay.
Also, they will physically pile up underneath you until they knock it over.
Yeah, so it's
how
not-
many bodies will that take? How much time you got?
Yeah, it'll happen eventually, right? Hey, just don't make noise. Okay, that's difficult. That's the answer to that. And then they double down on that and going, not only is that difficult, in some cases it's actually impossible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just don't look. Well, there's bad people sometimes. Well, what about the rest of the time?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read about the car.
I saw a bit of the car. And I'm like,
Hey.
why are they driving? That's my question, is why are they driving?
Because we gotta go get food. But we can just paint the windows black and use the GPS, right? So
Possibly the worst idea ever.
when is the last time Google Maps has accurately brought you up to the front door of a building with a parking lot
Never.
off the road following
Also,
its
Google
turns?
Maps doesn't show you, I don't know, other cars in the street. Like,
Well, that's the actual obstacles.
yeah.
Right? And then at some point when the things are around, lots of shaking and rattling, lots of noises, big panic.
Why are you panicking?
Panic!
I mean, granted, it's pretty scary that there's like a fucking monster or something.
Shaking, shadows. Ooh. Shaking, shadows.
That movie needed somebody who was like blind and it was like, I don't know what the fuck you people's problem is. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It just seems like everybody's gone nuts.
Effectively.
And then they just leave, and then they see them at the end of the movie, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Everything's fine."
Yeah.
I don't even know what you. It sounds like all you seeing people made this shit up.
Thank God Nier Automata came out first and made blindfolds cool.